On Network Africa, a blast in the Somali capital leaves 10 people dead. The Italian Coast Guard says it has rescued at least 6,500 migrants from the Mediterranean Sea since yesterday. Plus, one scientist says the drought in Kenya is nearing its end. Network Africa begins right now. Welcome everyone, I am BC Adebayo. 10 people have been killed in the Somali capital, Mogadishu, after a car exploded outside the presidential palace, damaging 2 hotels nearby. One of the hotels destroyed in the attack was frequented by government officials, and police said it was likely the target.
A car bomb claimed by Al-Shabaab Islamist militants killed 5 soldiers outside the presidential palace in the Somali capital of Mogadishu and badly damaged 2 nearby hotels, police said on Tuesday, August 30. Reuters witnesses said gunfire could be heard after the explosion and a huge cloud of smoke could be seen above the president's palace, outside which were the remnants of the car and splattered blood. Al-Qaeda-linked Al-Shabaab has claimed responsibility for several recent explosions in Mogadishu, including a car bomb and gun attack last week at a popular beach restaurant in the capital that killed 10 people. Al-Shabaab's radio, Andalus, said the group was behind the attack. In a separate incident, Al-Shabaab fighters attacked military bases housing government and African Union troops southwest of the capital, Mogadishu, late on Monday. Al-Shabaab's military operations spokesman, Abdiaziz Abu Musab, said the group's fighters had killed 10 soldiers and commandeered a vehicle from the Somali government soldiers. The militants were pushed out of Mogadishu by the African Union peacekeeping force AMISOM in 2011, but have remained a serious threat, launching frequent attacks aimed at overthrowing the government. Seeking to impose its own harsh form of Islam, Al-Shabaab has also launched attacks in Kenya and Uganda, which have contributed troops to the 22,000-strong AMISOM force.
I'm now being joined by Eric Gavala, who's a journalist living in Nairobi, Kenya, where he's monitoring the situation. Eric, what more do we know about the blast?
Thank you so much. Well, we know that aside from the 10 people who have been killed, including government soldiers, Western diplomats and lawmakers and security officers, the heavily secured area close to the gates of the presidential palace was the prime target of this attack. The attack happened on Somali Youth League Hotel, which was apparently supposed to host a security conference this very Thursday. And this is the 3rd time this hotel has been targeted by these militants in the past 1 year.
Well,
back to you.
So how has the government reacted to this blast?
Well, the government has sent out increased government presence in the capital. We know that Al-Shabaab was forced out of the capital in 2007 by African Union and government troops. So the government has tried to cordon off the area of the attack and increase military presence in the capital because these attacks have been happening in an increased fashion. So what we know for now is that increased presence of security officers and increased security for diplomats and government officials. We know that some ministers in this government were in the hotel at the time of the attack. So increased security for these personnel has also been effective.
Well, you mentioned earlier that this is about the third time this year that this hotel is being attacked, and you also just mentioned that security has been increased or beefed up generally. Are you saying between the first attack and this attack, the security has not really been beefed up before now?
Well, what we know is that hotels are increasingly becoming on the hit list for these terrorists. One of the reasons is that hotels have a unique place in the economic anatomy of any state in the world. Hotels and the tourism industry are a key part. So apart from hosting tourists and businessmen and investors, hotels provide conducive ambience for meetings and conferences, just like the one which was supposed to be held this Thursday. Now, these luxury hotels attract people from diverse backgrounds and are considered high-valued soft targets for terrorists around the world. Now, Al-Shabaab is fighting to oust Somalia's UN-backed government and then turn Somalia into a fundamentalist Islamic state. So these terrorists were pushed out of the capital in 2007, but they have stepped up attacks in the capital, especially around hotels, because of the high-valued target that the hotels have become. So what I'm basically saying is that security has been ramped up in the capital. However, Al-Shabaab has been viewing hotels as soft targets. They can come in, attack or detonate a car bomb, and then raid in the hotel without so much resistance from security forces. Back to you.
Now, 2 hotels nearby were destroyed in this blast, and authorities believe one of them was the main target of the attack. Now, how speculative could that be at this point, considering the blast happened near the presidential palace?
Well, this is causing a lot of jitters around the security forces because, we know that the presidential palace has been attacked before. Also, Parliament has been attacked before. And this is a cause for concern for African Union and government troops, because the proximity to the presidential palace shows the level of aggressiveness these Al-Shabaab militants have. They do not shy away from carrying out their attacks in any target around the city. So this points at a level where the African Union and government forces should go back to the drawing board and, just reassess their strategy in dealing with Al-Shabaab in the capital.
Well, is this likely to have any impact on the number of visitors at the hotels?
Say that again?
I was asking if these frequent attacks on hotels is going to have any likely impact on the tourism sector, let's put it that way.
Yes, exactly. You see, like I said before, these hotels are becoming, top on the hit list for these terrorists because of the impact these attacks is going to have on the general population and on the visiting diplomats and tourists. Number one, the casualties that are usually, gotten from these attacks. We hear that 10 people died, in this specific attack. 15 people died in the attack in June. And the number of people that are dying from these attacks is increasing. Also, the psychological effect that these attacks have on the general population or on would-be holiday makers is that they would stay away from such countries or from Somalia. We know that Somalia is not the only country that has been targeted, in the recent past. We've had Radisson Blu in Mali, Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso, even Kenya and Egypt have had their tourism sectors shaken up and, being brought to their knees just because of these attacks happening in luxury hotels and soft targets. So in actual sense, the economic effect or the impact that this attack will have on the tourism level is unprecedented. Because,
all right, Eric. Eric, we just have to let you go at this time. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. Well, when Network Africa returns in a moment, we'll still have more on the blast in Somalia, and this time we'll take a different perspective. Please stay with us.